Vimeo was the first streaming website to allow creators to upload and play back HD videos. And if YouTube was where people could upload random funny videos they shot with a webcam, Vimeo was its way cooler, arguably hipster cousin, where professional filmmakers went to upload their cinematic masterpieces in the hopes and dreams of earning one of the most sought after video awards on the internet, inclusion on Vimeo's playlist of staff picks. This is the story of the creation, success, and what looks to be soon the end. This is the rise and fall of Vimeo. Let's start at the beginning, the creation of Vimeo in the golden era. Hey, my name is Matt Johnson. I've been creating videos since 2006, a year after YouTube was created and 2 years after the creation of Vimeo. At the time, if you wanted to upload videos, YouTube was where you would go. But around 2008, with the release of the Canon 5D Mark II, Vimeo began to set itself apart, providing a haven of sorts on the internet, free from pre-roll or mid-roll ads, putting the focus squarely on your content, and it did it all in HD. Remember, at the time, YouTube, a platform that now offers 8K HDR video playback, was severely limited in the resolution department. We are talking the bare minimum of standard definition, 320 by 240 resolution video. I still remember when YouTube added the HQ playback button, which was not high definition. It was just a boost from mediocre standard definition to barely average standard definition, giving you a higher quality viewing experience that in retrospect is still crazy low quality. Alternatively though, you had Vimeo, and aside from the lack of ads, it offered videos in a crisp, ultra sharp, for the time, 720p resolution. Yes, it's not even full HD 1920 by 1080, but it doesn't matter. It was still a massive upgrade. I still remember watching one of the first videos that sold 1 million Canon 5D Mark IIs on Vimeo, Vincent Laforet's Reverie, which you have to understand. The low light performance, the depth of field, everything looked so good in that film, and what helped it immensely is that it was able to be playback in HD resolution on Vimeo. I've also watched thousands of other films on Vimeo over the years. Timescapes by Tom Lowe, Silent Transitions by Solomon Lighthelm. So many short films that would have flopped on YouTube found great success on Vimeo thanks to it being a platform synonymous with high quality video, which was incredibly attractive to new filmmakers like myself. There were so many creative people uploading unique and cinematically powerful videos to the website as we all learned how to use these DSLRs with their very high quality image, but so many limitations, like a 12-minute recording time limit before it would just stop recording. It was rough, but it was also such an empowering time to be a filmmaker, being able to create all of these videos that we never could before. The peak of Vimeo really came to me in two parts. The first of which was the addition of a playlist that was arguably the most influential playlist of videos ever created. Even to this day, inclusion in this unassuming playlist had the power to take anyone with a creative eye and a story to tell and put their video in front of the most influential people in the world of filmmaking across Hollywood and the commercial video space, literally transforming the lives of filmmakers overnight and massively jumpstarting their career. This playlist was called Staff Picks. And just as the name implies, Vimeo employees who, unsurprisingly, watched a lot of videos uploaded to their platform would choose a select few videos every several days, once a week, and put them on this Staff Picks playlist, which they would feature heavily on the website as a way to watch the best and most creative videos. Even better, any video chosen as a staff pick would also get a badge featured prominently on it, showing that this video was special, chosen to be on this exclusive playlist, and indicating that if you hit play, you were about to watch something truly great. Remember though, I said that there were two parts that made up this peak of Vimeo. See, the staff of Vimeo realized that they were cultivating a community, a very powerful community comprised of some of the most talented and up-and-coming filmmakers in the world. And aside from a playlist of who they thought were the best, they were thinking, is there a way that we can have more people uploading their best work to the platform? Yes. And how do you do that? You have a contest, a film contest. And not just any film contest. Arguably one of the most creative and fun contests that I have ever seen. This contest was called The Story Behind the Still, and it was a collaborative contest where Vimeo hired a filmmaker to create the first episode of a short film. And then anyone could enter a video picking up on the last frame of that film and showing where the story would go next in the second episode. That episode would then end on another still, and the story would continue in the third episode directly from that last still, on and on until 7 episodes and 7 filmmakers were chosen as winners, who would all get to come together to film the final episode of the contest. The complete film with all its chapters would then air at Sundance Film Festival. Side note, by the way, remember how I said that there was a filmmaker that Vimeo hired to make the first episode of this contest? It was none other than Vincent Laforet, the creator of Reverie, that really set off the filmmaking DSLR revolution. There's a lot more to this story behind the still contest than that. I personally know filmmakers that won, and more than that, because the contest and winners were chosen weekly, it was like watching a part reality TV show, part contest, part film festival. In short, I look back on this moment as one of the coolest things that I've ever been able to witness as a filmmaker. This contest was also arguably too big and amazing for me to really do it justice talking about all the features of it in this video, so let me know if you want to see another video where I go more in depth into the contest, because yeah, it was just a cool time. Let's get back to the story of Vimeo though. At this point, it was 2009, Vimeo was cruising right along, and for many filmmakers, it was the default website to upload a video, not YouTube like it is today. And that was for 4 big reasons. HD video playback, which we already talked about, no ads playing on the videos themselves, a video player that could be heavily customized when embedding it on a website, including preventing videos from other creators and your competition being shown at the end of playback, and overall, Vimeo had cultivated a positive community with good comments and no haters like you get on YouTube. It was a safe haven for filmmakers to be encouraged. But then, competition came knocking, and it all started to fall apart for Vimeo. Part 3, the beginning of the end. Vimeo offered a unique value proposition, the highest quality video streaming available on the internet, which is really attractive to many filmmakers. But that all changed when YouTube finally enabled HD playback, and then 4K, and eventually even higher resolution video playback. Vimeo raised its video quality playback to 4K to compete, but what you have to remember is that YouTube is owned by Google, a company with thousands of data centers around the world capable of streaming incredibly high quality video extremely quickly to any device. And one thing that I, as well as many other filmmakers, noticed when comparing YouTube and Vimeo was that while Vimeo claimed it was capable of streaming 4K video, in practice, even if you had a fast internet connection, it would still struggle to play it back smoothly. I have fiber internet, and I've lost track of the amount of times that I've attempted to watch a video on Vimeo only to have it pause playback, to buffer for a few seconds, or freeze entirely. Don't even get me started on attempting to skip ahead in a video. That is a recipe for a video to stop streaming entirely on Vimeo, causing a need for an entire reload of the website. In short, this transition from 720p video playback that was relatively easy and one of Vimeo's biggest differentiators between it and its competition was also one of its biggest technical failures when it came time to transition from 720p to full HD and 4K streaming, which requires significantly more bandwidth that Vimeo couldn't throw nearly as much money at as YouTube. They didn't have the infrastructure. They had to pay to rent it from other companies. In addition, while YouTube continued to only grow in popularity, reaching billions of viewers every month, Vimeo never experienced the same explosive growth. While it was still considered a competitor to YouTube with hundreds of millions of visitors per month, it was a much more niche community that was mostly there, comprised of filmmakers, which was incredibly powerful, but in the world of tech companies who are always looking to grow larger and larger, this lack of fast growth made the platform look less attractive to the market and investors. Because of this, Vimeo decided to pivot, moving away from being a competitor to YouTube in 2017 and to focus more on a software as a service model. Creators could now upload a video to Vimeo and have it then be shared to other websites like YouTube. They could also send a video review link to a client and get feedback similar to something like frame.io. They could use Vimeo to actually edit videos using a tool called Vimeo Create. Vimeo was attempting to create their own space in the market, helping creators make and host their videos. But there was a storm brewing on the horizon, one that threatened this core community of filmmakers that was really the lifeblood of the company. This storm came in the form of copyright claims, and it came on fast. See, from 2004 to 2011 or so, Vimeo was pretty lax when it came to what music they allowed you to use in your videos. Vimeo has never had a robust copyright claim system, and I can't recall anyone at the time that I knew getting in trouble for uploading a video with copyrighted music. Sure, Vimeo wouldn't allow you to upload something like a Hollywood movie to the platform, but music was pretty fair game, and for many new filmmakers, especially wedding filmmakers like myself, they used a lot of copyrighted music in their videos. Don't forget, MusicBed wasn't founded until 2011. Artlist didn't exist until 2016. The only way to license music for a video was to work with an artist directly, negotiating with their label or using one of a few expensive websites offering royalty-free music that was extremely cheesy sounding. It was a difficult time to be a filmmaker, especially if you didn't like xylophones. But like I said, Vimeo turned a blind eye to filmmakers uploading videos with copyrighted music, and for many years, thousands upon thousands of people got away with using all kinds of songs in their videos without issue. The first sign of change, though, came in 2011 in a very public way. Joe Simon, an incredibly talented wedding filmmaker, filmed the wedding of the then current Dallas Cowboys quarterback Tony Romo to Candace Crawford, and for the video, he chose to use a Coldplay song that he didn't license. And where did he upload the video? Vimeo. And within a few days, the video had millions of views. And not long after that, Coldplay's record label took notice and filed a lawsuit. The video came down, Joe and the record label settled for a pretty sizable chunk of change, and most importantly, a lot of filmmakers that had been using Vimeo to upload videos with all kinds of copyrighted music took notice and began licensing the music that they uploaded there for all of their new videos. Crisis averted, right? Well, no, because the storm was about to hit. 2 years prior to the story I told you about Coldplay and Joe Simon, multiple record labels had sued Vimeo for copyrighted music that had been uploaded, but this was all hung up in a long-running court case that mostly played out behind the scenes and didn't really affect many users of the Vimeo platform for many years. But in roughly 2017, this all changed, with Vimeo beginning to be significantly more strict about enforcing copyright on the platform. And the biggest and most consequential change for many filmmakers on the website came in the form of Vimeo going after old videos that they had uploaded to the website that had copyrighted material. What this meant is that if you were a filmmaker that had uploaded videos in 2006 through 2016, a whole decade, if you were one of the earliest users of Vimeo, arguably one of their most loyal customers, and any of those videos had copyrighted music in them, even if the videos were unlisted on your page or private, where only you could see and watch them, it didn't matter. Vimeo staff had software that could look at every single video, private or public, and if your video had any copyrighted music, it would be detected, deleted, and you would get a copyright strike on your account. The first 2 strikes were a warning, and the 3rd strike would result in the deletion of your account, which is a good system if you are going after people that are uploading one video at a time, where they'll be warned with a strike after uploading one video so they can stop doing that. The issue with Vimeo going after users this way, though, is that by scanning all of their old video uploads, if they detected multiple videos that had copyrighted music, even from 2007, you could get multiple copyright strikes at the same time, sometimes minutes right after the other, leading to multiple creators that I know going to bed one night and then waking up the next morning with multiple copyright strikes and their accounts they have had on Vimeo for over a decade being deleted. Should they have known better? Yes. Should they have deleted any old videos that had copyrighted content on them? Also yes. But I know firsthand that a lot of these people were wedding filmmakers that had uploaded their videos in 2007 or 2009, and they had since learned from Joe Simon's lawsuit in 2011 that they shouldn't be using copyrighted music. So they took all those old videos that used copyrighted music and they made them unlisted or private so no one else could view them, and they thought they wouldn't get in trouble. Their thinking was that if the video is private, no further harm is going to come to the record label because no one's watching or listening to this copyrighted music. But Vimeo failed to communicate any of this. It was just the banhammer swinging wildly. And at the end, the result was the deletion of thousands of many filmmakers' Vimeo accounts due to copyright strikes, even though they'd already changed their ways and weren't using copyrighted music for many years. Remember too, these were Vimeo's most loyal users, people that had uploaded videos to the site for over a decade, and Vimeo essentially eliminated from the platform without thought. They destroyed this tightly knit niche community that they had so carefully built that was their biggest strength. Zero compassion, just cold corporate decision making. Around the time all these copyright takedowns were happening, Vimeo also tried to cut costs at the server and hosting level, dramatically limiting the amount and size of videos that could be uploaded to the platform unless creators were willing to pay significantly more money for the hosting. It's not like YouTube where you can just upload a ton of videos for free. No. You need to pay for it with Vimeo, which is really stifling to getting new creators onto the platform. Years before, I had transitioned from a paid Vimeo Plus account to a free account because I wasn't getting really any value from the platform. And as a result, when this hosting crackdown began, I had to go in and delete my entire archive of older videos on the site, leaving me with only 8 videos uploaded, down from hundreds that I had uploaded over many years. Suddenly, filmmakers who had spent over a decade creating and sharing videos on Vimeo were forced to either pay up or delete almost all their videos, further eroding the community of filmmakers that had been built. If Vimeo couldn't get you with a copyright claim, they would get you with the requirement to either pay up or lose all your old videos. Ignoring the destruction of the community though, on the business front, things were looking up. In 2021, Vimeo went public and peaked with a valuation of $5 billion on the stock market. They acquired a few other smaller companies in the AI and webinar space. What do investors love? Growth and acquisitions. Bigger, better, capitalism, baby. But then some cracks started to form. Thanks to the pandemic, Vimeo had seen record growth in 2020 and 2021, with everyone interested in sharing videos and live streaming. But like with all companies, the rocket ship of growth didn't last. In 2022, Vimeo began limiting all users to 2 terabytes of bandwidth per month, which, yes, bandwidth is expensive, but imagine if you posted a video to YouTube, it went viral, got millions of views, and suddenly YouTube blocked it and said, hey, you're not allowed to use any more bandwidth. Sorry, we gotta shut down your channel. That would be crazy, right? Well, that's what happened with Vimeo. The hits continued, with Vimeo laying off hundreds of employees, a desperate attempt to remain profitable. They then removed support for all of their smart TV apps, making it significantly harder to watch videos from the platform on TV. Imagine, you've delivered a wedding film to a couple, they ask you how they can watch it on their TV. Things just suddenly got significantly more complicated. The writing was on the wall. And just like an armadillo out in the desert for too long, the vultures started to circle, sensing weakness. But suddenly, a lifeline. Vimeo announced that it was being acquired and being taken private again in September 2025. Could it be saved? Would this shield it from the need for perpetual growth that shareholders demand of public companies? I thought so. at least until I saw the name of the company that had acquired them. This company is called Bending Spoons. Yes, like from The Matrix. And I will let their own history of how they've treated other companies that they've had acquired up to this point help you decide if this was a good move for Vimeo. In 2019, Apple featured an incredible pro filmmaking app during one of their keynote presentations. This app was called Filmic Pro, and it brought a lot of pro-level video recording capabilities to the iPhone. Just like Vimeo, filmmakers loved it, and I, as well as many others, recommended it as a fantastic app for video recording on your smartphone. Well, just 3 years later, in 2022, Filmic was acquired by no other than Bending Spoons, who immediately made the Filmic app essentially unusable without an expensive subscription, and a little over a year later, the entire original development team was laid off. The app still exists, but you don't see me or any other influencers ever talking about it or recommending it, and I don't think that's been in an Apple keynote since. There are far better and more affordable options now, like the Blackmagic camera and Final Cut camera apps that have risen to fill in the gap. Bending Spoons was greedy. In November 2022, Bending Spoons also acquired Evernote, a much-loved productivity and note-taking app that friends of mine raved about. 6 months later, again, the entire original development team was laid off, and you don't really see or hear anyone talking about using that app anymore. Ever use WeTransfer? It was widely considered by filmmakers to be one of the best sites for easily sending video files to clients because you could send smaller files completely for free or larger files for a very affordable monthly subscription. Bending Spoons got them too in July 2024, and in September, few months later, they fired 75% of the employees. There's been more acquisitions: StreamYard, Issue, Brightcode, even AOL. Yes, the You've Got Mail company. All of them acquired within the past 2 years by Bending Spoons. My point is that there has been a pattern. Bending Spoons finds a struggling company, acquires them for a relatively cheap price, fires most, if not all, of the original employees, jacks up the costs for the end user, and bleeds the company dry. And with Vimeo being acquired in late 2025, it looks like one of the most popular and loved hosting sites for filmmakers is headed in the same direction. I've spoken to friends of mine that still use Vimeo because they are working professionals with hundreds of clients and they need a simple and high quality way to share videos. They have told me that the platform has gotten worse and worse in the past few years, with more bugs than ever before. Videos that were uploaded and shared with a password randomly not working, telling a client who's most likely impatient that they are not authorized to view their video. Embedded videos breaking and not playing for no reason. Portfolio pages having terrible organization controls, burying your newest uploads at the bottom of your list of videos, and sometimes not even showing your newest videos at all. Thumbnails resetting back to a default. There's a lot of issues. Keep in mind, the Vimeo website has essentially been falling apart before this acquisition, and now, considering Bending Spoons' history and how they have treated the companies they have bought, I don't have much, if any, hope that they are going to improve any of this. I hope they do. I hope they turn Vimeo around and fix its issues, inviting filmmakers back to it. But my bet, looking at their history, is they're going to leave the site as it is, crank up the subscription costs for creators to use the service, and milk them for as much profit as possible before eventually shutting it all down and cutting and running to their next victim. This is how it ends. Not with a sudden shutdown of the website, but with a slow stutter of playback, failing to buffer before it pauses forever. This is the death of Vimeo. If you enjoyed watching this deep dive on the story of Vimeo, please consider liking this video and subscribing. If you want to learn more about filmmaking and video editing, I will link to my YouTube Secrets for Wedding Filmmakers guide in the video description as well. You'll find it very useful if you're making the transition away from Vimeo, or even if you've already made that transition and you've been using YouTube for a long time. It shares a lot of things that took me years to learn as a YouTuber. Thanks so much for watching and have a great day.